So we do most of our Innovate 2016 interviews at the Innovation Hangar in San Francisco, a very cool venue. We're here today with Josh Browder, a very innovative young entrepreneur. And we're using this background, which actually the Innovation Hangar is promoting in association with its Hunger Games exhibit. What future will you create? A lot of this show's been about the idea of DC, Washington, DC, creating the future. But of course, in Silicon Valley, we're very good at creating the future. And one guy who's doing a remarkable job, especially for someone of his tender age, is Josh Browder. Josh, welcome to Innovate 2016.
Thanks so much for having me.
So Josh, you're an undergrad at Stanford. What, you're a second-year student?
Going into my second year, yes.
And the quintessential startup guy. You have developed a number of very successful apps, one of which is an app for paying parking tickets or fighting parking tickets, which maybe you'll talk about a little later in the show. But the one I really want to talk to you about is your application of blockchain with HIV. I know this is a particularly interesting issue. We've had the Tapscotts on the show talking about the impact of blockchain, but they never talk specifically. What are you doing using blockchain to innovate and to create a future that we all want?
Sure. Well, in this country, there's a huge problem at the moment with kind of discrimination against those with HIV and AIDS. And if you have HIV, I have several friends who have HIV. There's this huge problem.
You mean HIV positive?
HIV positive, exactly. There's this huge problem where you have to prove to all your sexual partners that you've disclosed. And often there are these huge miscarriages of justice where there's some mix-up and it's not clear whether the person has actually said, I'm HIV positive. So what I've done is, using the blockchain, I've allowed those who are HIV positive to prove in under 30 seconds that they've disclosed in a permanent and anonymous record, and it requires no technical knowledge.
So in this sense, blockchain is actually being used in an incredibly innovative way for the social good.
Exactly, and the thing is with these cases, they often arise 20, 30 years after the incident. And so the problem with that is companies disappear, records disappear, but the blockchain is permanent, which is why it's so powerful.
So you agree with the Tapscotts that the blockchain is essentially the new internet, the thing that's going to change everything?
Absolutely. I think that it's already changed financial technology a lot, but it also has a big impact in the law, and that's just starting to surface.
Talk a little bit also about your app. We first met at DLD New York, where you were talking about your parking ticket app, which I think is incredibly innovative.
Sure. At the age of 18, which is the legal driving age in the UK, I got a few parking tickets. And
a few? How many, Josh, in truth?
Too many to count. I think around 30 at the end.
So you were this tech guy who was so absent-minded that everywhere you park, you pick up tickets? Yes,
and so I decided that instead of paying for them, I should try and fight them. And some were correctly issued, and I paid for those. But the ones that were incorrectly issued, I decided to create an app to help people find the reasons why they were incorrectly given and fight them. And I created it for a few family and friends and could never have imagined that in just a few short months it would have appealed for over $4 million now worth of parking tickets.
So you got traction?
Yes. The government don't like me very much, but people with parking tickets do.
And it's a real business?
Well, it's currently free, so...
no business model then?
Well, in Silicon Valley, there's no such thing as business models. It's just traction or not. And people are loving it, and it's great to be able to help people.
As an innovator, Josh, someone who's reinventing the world, whether it's paying or not paying parking tickets or disclosing or not disclosing HIV, what do you make of the 2016 election?
It's a complete disgrace. It's kind of been taken over by harmful rhetoric. And we have so many problems in our society that I've noticed. People being imprisoned for years over just not paying fines, poverty, the healthcare system, the environment, and a few politicians, and specifically one politician, is just ignoring all of that and instead kind of inciting racist hatred.
But can innovation take place in parallel with the absurdity and ugliness and uselessness of the political process, or do you need the political process to help you shape a better future?
I think that the political process should try and stay as far away as possible from innovation. From my experience, governments tend to be big bureaucratic messes, and the further that they stay away from any sort of innovation in any sort of action, the better it is.
So any kind of regulation you think is unhealthy from your point of view as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think we need regulation sometimes, but ultimately regulation is harmful to innovation.
So when you're sitting down as an app developer to coming up with your your brilliant new idea, the less the government is involved, the better?
Well, for example, in Texas, where they banned Uber, how can anyone take that city seriously without, if they ban Uber, which is kind of the symbol of innovation? So absolutely, yes.
And could the government become involved in your HIV screening thing? I mean, particularly a conservative state that didn't want to acknowledge still the AIDS virus?
I think that it's unfortunate, and they probably wouldn't want to, and they're part of the problem, part of the reason I need this in the first place, need to create this. So I wouldn't want them anywhere near it, to be honest.
Josh, you're an undergrad at Stanford. What is it in the water at Stanford that's producing this assembly line of innovative young entrepreneurs like you? Is it cause and effect? Is it the smart innovators going to Stanford, or is once you go there, you suddenly become this remarkable entrepreneur?
Well, I think that Stanford I think it's the people once you go. The Bay Area is really horrible, expensive housing and everything like that. But one thing that the Bay Area has, which no other place in the world has, is amazing people. And just being around those people is inspiring and inspires me to do more.
Aren't there kids at Stanford, though, who want to innovate in politics, people in your class who want to become president? Won't that be the solution to the problems in DC?
Absolutely. I think even Elon Musk says that he would consider running for president sometime in the future. So I wouldn't be against President Musk.
But of your generation, people who are still undergraduates, people in their teens and early 20s, are they also thinking, if we really want to change the system, if we really want to build a future that's good for everyone, we need to get into politics?
I certainly have lots of friends who want to become prominent politicians. And that's one way to do it. Another way is to just work outside of the system in Silicon Valley. I'm too young to know which way is best, but I'm trying to work out of the system at the moment.
And Josh, finally, for people who want to look into your apps, where do they find them?
It's currently DoNotPay.co.uk.
DoNotPay.co.uk, and they find the same HIV app there as well.
Yes.
But Josh, I want to commend you. I think you're doing a great job as an innovator. It's always nice to have real innovators on the show rather than people who simply talk about innovation. Best of luck with all your work.
Thanks so much.